Olga, of course, has made all of the semi-finals this season so far. Very dedicated and talented athlete. She's been at all of the competitions here in the Ice Climbing World Tour. We saw her first in Durango and then, of course, in Beijing. And then last week in Cheongsong. Olga's best result this season has been a 8th place last week in Cheongsong. And let's see how she gets on with this speed? Who is this guy? With this lead semi-final route. The first climber that we've seen on it. The first chance we get to really work out what the moves look like, how they climb. Olga's a very calculated, precise climber. Quite slow, but in a very precise way. So expect to see her taking her time with those moves, working out the best methods. Climbing up the back of the speed wall from yesterday to get her started. And you see now she'll kick out to the right-hand side into that wooden pillar mounted onto the concrete walls of the car park. For all the Americans tuning in, that's a parking lot. Big bridge move there. No trouble so far for Olga Kosek as she just moves up towards those first clips, the pre-clipped quick draws. The first couple of quick draws are always pre-clipped at these competitions. Safety is of paramount importance. Fall low down obviously could be very dangerous and result in a ground fall, so we do our best to keep the athletes safe. And you see Olga reaching up off that left hand, and you see now for the first time in the semi-finals these Saas holds. They're notorious on the circuit. A lot of athletes really dread coming to Saas to climb on these holds. They're very, very unpredictable, very hard to read, and the pick can just blow out of there in a heartbeat. So you'll see the athletes place in those tools very delicately, move on them very delicately, and do their very best not to blow the holds. Olga just using an out-of-bounds part there. As long as she doesn't move off it, she's okay. Looks like a tricky position. Maybe a Stein. I'm not sure if that's a screw hole in the top right-hand side of that or if it's a hooking, like a drilled hold. Definitely not allowed to use that part of the hold. That red part is out of bounds as far as I'm aware, unless she's on the top edge. A little bit hard to make out from that angle. It's possible that she's on the top edge and not in the back on the red. The judges haven't called her down, so she'll be allowed to continue so far. I guess she must be deemed not on the out-of-bounds area. Puts the Stein in, and it looks like the Stein was the way to do it, just a powerful move. So it'll be interesting to see how the judges do make that decision. Reaches up with the right. Again, another out of bounds area. You see that red part denotes out of bounds. The green parts on these holds giving the climbers some indication as to where the tools should be placed. And there we see for the first time in the competition a Russian intellect hold. Normally these holds are red, and this one's green. Red would denote that it's out of bounds to use any of the red area. The green one, you can use any part of that hold. However, that said, the best parts are the metal plate. You can see where the tip of Olga's pick is on that black part of the hold. Those are pre-drilled holds. Very small placements, very, very delicate. a little bit more reliable than the granite holds. When we were in China, we saw, again, the use of rock holds. In fact, that's a great shot there. You can see exactly how precise you need to be placing that pick into the intellect hold. So as I was saying, we were in China and they were using rock holds there, and the climbers were actually glad to be on the intellect holds, whereas usually they're more nervous on the intellect holds because of the very unpredictable nature and the precise nature required. Kicking in high with the left foot, Olga Kosek. Matching again with that tool. She's just not quite deciding what she wants to do there. Kicks in with the right. Moves that body weight across. Moves the centre of gravity to the right to make this transition to the next panel as she's into the traverse section. Got a great view of Olga here from the commentary booth. Makes that next clip. Unfortunately, we don't have the clips numbered here, so it's much harder for me to recite the numbers of clips that she's made. I'll be making a special effort to try and remember where each climber gets to. Now you see Olga getting that swing going on the clip there, very wise move. By doing that, the clip comes closer to her, so when she needs to clip the rope into it, she doesn't have to reach out with the weight of the rope. Those little things make a huge difference. Whilst it may seem like a tiny marginal difference, when you combine that over several moves, maybe 50 moves, and you combine that over maybe 30 meters of climbing, each minuscule difference does count. Into that left hand, rolls over into the first ice barrel. You can see those pre-drilled holes. Only allowed to use the pre-drilled holes with the ice tools. You're not allowed to swing your tool into the ice. Expect to see Olga throwing in some sort of fig four to make her next move up onto the logs. It's the first time we'll see the logs come into play at this competition, and again, Saas has these logs as a unique part of its offering as a World Cup event. The climbers are required to swing the axes into the logs like they would into ice when in the mountains. And you can see on the top of those logs there's red paint, and that red paint denotes an out-of-bounds zone. So the climbers aren't allowed to hook over the top. They have to swing the axes into the side like that. Perfect example from Olga there. Very core-intensive position this. She has her left foot horizontally out below that barrel. Not able to bring her feet up at this point. There we go. Puts her crampon into the hole of the barrel. There we go. Moving quite well at this point. She's got 30 seconds on the clock. Again, swinging into that log. She's got 20 seconds. She'll want to make that clip. Of course, those clips really count. Especially with this log where it's so hard to decipher which part you've used and to score this log differently. 4 seconds on the clock for Olga. Don't think she's going to rush up to make that clip. And that's Olga's time. Great effort there from Olga Kosek of Poland. Very methodical, very calculated approach, very safe. Good effort.